Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today I want to review a book called Morning Star, which is this book right here. So I'd like to warn you all first. This is going to be a spoiler review and I'm going to be looking at some of the major plot points throughout this book. So if you have not read the book, I highly recommend you do so before watching the rest of this video, or if you don't care, then you can just continue watching. So this is the third book in the Red Rising series. Of course, the first book is called Red Rising, followed by Golden Sun, and now Morning Star. This is a series by Pierce Brown, and firstly, I love this book. Let me just go through some of the plot points and then we'll talk about it further. So first and foremost, we open with Darrow in Jackal's box, which is like his torture prison where he's torturing Darrow in. Now, of course, he won't stay there for long. Eventually, he will get rescued by two members of the Sons of Ares, Trig and Holiday, who have the grey colour. And during this escape, they actually escape with Victra also, because Darrow realised that Victra is still alive as well, and he knew that Victra was loyal to him towards the end, so he wanted to save her as well, which says a lot about what kind of person Darrow is. And of course, they came to the Sons of Ares' new headquarters, followed by the new Ares, who is Sevro. He gets up to date on so much of the information he missed out on while he was being tortured. So first and foremost, harmony. Remember how in the previous review for the previous book, Golden Sun, I asked how on earth did Jackal find out about Darrow's true identity? Well, the answer is simple: harmony. She betrayed them, which I didn't expect at all, but it also makes sense because Harmony was captured by the Jackal in the second book, and she was rescued as well while Darrow came in, so it makes sense that Harmony is the one who gave away the information. Other information that he got during that time is when Darrow was being tortured by the Jackal, apparently the Jackal made the media outlets say that Darrow was already executed, and they even had an execution video play out, but it was not the real Darrow. They just got somebody else to play as Darrow and executed him while he was being tortured in the Jackal's box. They also found Quicksilver because he's been working under the Jackal as the person who's controlling the media, but he's also a secret member of the Sons of Ares during Fitchner's time, whom nobody knew about, and he only found out in this. So I thought that was an interesting way. So Quicksilver joins them as well, and now he's working with them more because while Fitchner was in power, Quicksilver was working undercover, but now he's more involved with the Sons of Ares. Then there's Aja, who is Octavia's right-hand person. She's just too overpowering. She's just too powerful throughout this entire book. I get that she was Lorne's best student, but still, she's just too powerful throughout this entire book, which is crazy. Of course, why is she too powerful? She even killed Ragnar. Even Ragnar didn't stand a chance against Aja. Aja didn't even lose a single strand of blood, and she killed Ragnar easily. That's how overpowering she is. Of course, Ragnar's death was very emotional, but at least he's back at his home planet. Here we meet Sephi the Quiet, who is Ragnar's sister, and of course the Valkyrie as well. Now, Darrow was there in the icy planet to recruit the Obsidian. That's why he brought Ragnar there. So hopefully he can help them. Problem is that Ragnar was actually planning on killing his mother because his mother was too loyal to Octavia Aulun, the Sovereign. So in order for the Obsidian to follow Darrow, he needed to kill his mother. That was the plan. But now that Ragnar is dead, Ragnar's mother, the person in charge of this planet, tells Sephi to take Darrow and Mustang to Asgard, where the Golds look over them. And she does that, but during that time, Darrow actually got to talk to Sephi, and Sephi actually listened. He was telling her, look, these Golds, they're not who you think they are. They're not gods. They do bleed like the rest of us. They're just people ruling over you. And she sees the truth in that, and she joins him, and she even kills his mother. So even though Ragnar couldn't do it, he got the help of Sephi. So everything worked out in the end. Now he got an Obsidian army under him, Darrow. And before we go on, I want to talk about this first. So in the last book, Darrow was at an all-time high. He did the Iron Rain, which was so epic, and all that stuff. He was at an all-time high. This is the guy you follow, kind of thing. And in this book, after he gets tortured by the Jackal, he's at his weakest state, and even after being fixed by Mickey, who's a carver, he's still not that strong, which at first it really bothered me a bit, but over time I got used to it because I realized that this book was not really about Darrow. In the first two books, Golden Sun and Red Rising, Darrow was like the clearly main leading character. But in this book, he takes a step back and lets his friends develop. Other characters like Sevro, Cassius and Mustang all had way more opportunities to develop as characters compared to the previous books, which at first I didn't see that, but after I realized it, I realized that's a good move. I actually enjoyed that as well. Cassius gets, of course, captured by the Sons of Ares, so he's in their prison, and during that time, Cassius and Darrow got to bond again after so long. They had this feud between them, blood feud between them ever since they realized Darrow killed Julian, who is his brother, Cassius' brother, and now there's this blood feud between them, but now they're getting together because Cassius realized, what's the point of having so much pride if everybody is going to be selfish, if everybody just wants to look after themselves? Because this is the hard truth that Cassius realized. I'm a prideful person, I put pride first, but everybody else around me only looks after themselves instead of doing their duty. So what's the point if that's how everybody's going to be and everybody's just using me? So Cassius realizes that the hard way, and he realizes, what the hell, I don't want to be a part of this war anymore. So Cassius and Darrow got to bond a bit, and he also keeps him in the Sons of Ares hospital, so you can imagine everybody there hates him, but Cassius goes along with it, because they saved his life, so he's appreciative of that. He still has his pride. And Sevro. Now, Sevro became the new Sons of Ares leader because his father, Viriginia, was the leader, but Viriginia was killed by Cassius. So Cassius and Sevro, at first their relationship was kind of bumpy in this book, but over time they got to develop into a friendship and they got to trust each other better. So that's something that was very interesting here. Then let's talk about a nuclear warhead. There was a lot of nuclear bombs at a planet which was very close to where the Sword Armada was. And now all these nukes were kept secret by the Sovereign. Nobody knew about it until the Sons of Ares found out about it. And they also realized that the Jackal stole it. So now the Sovereign doesn't have it anymore. So this is actually very important. You'll be very crucial until the very end. So Rogue. Now Rogue works under the Sovereign and he's been sent to the Sword Armada to recruit them to hopefully win their support. And Darrow was also there to win their support. So now it becomes a battle between Rogue and Darrow. See who wins the support of the Sword Armada. And remember the nuclear warhead? Well, this comes into play here. Apparently, the golds here in the Sword Armada did not know about these nukes, which was actually very close to them. So they saw this as a threat, and until Darrow actually told it to them, they actually didn't know about it. So they felt betrayed when they found out. And Rogue also didn't know the full story behind it. So what the hell? So nobody knew about it, and the Sword Armada chooses to follow Darrow, and they went into war with Rogue's fleet, and Rogue loses, and he kills himself because he has his own beliefs. Even though he knows he lost, he believes what he believes in, and that's something respectable. Instead of just changing sides and things like that, like Antonia, he sticks to one cause that he believes in. So because of his pride and all that. And of course the Sword Armada was really cool, by the way. That whole space battle sequence. We are nearing the ending now. Let's talk about Cassius' betrayal. The Sons of Ares are on Lune right now. Luna, I can't remember the name of the planet, but they are there where Octavia Aulun is, that planet. And they're going to start a war with them. So Darrow realizes that Darrow realizes that they'll find out that Cassius betrayed them and tried to kill him. So Darrow lets Cassius go. And what does Cassius do in return? He kills Sevro and he brings Mustang, Viriginia and Darrow to the Sovereign and the Jackal. He betrays them, literally. And he was here after Sevro's death, comes a line, reap what you sow. Because Darrow trusted Cassius and Cassius betrayed him. So he reaped what he sowed, Sevro died. And this also comes into play again when Antonia is brought forward to the Sovereign, because Antonia was part of Rogue's fleet and Rogue lost, but Antonia just fled away instead of fighting along to death. And the Sovereign saw this and just decided to kill her as well. Reap what you sow again. It talks about consequences, and it's a very interesting theme explored throughout this entire series. But now, did Cassius really betray Darrow and the Sons of Ares? That's the question. because they looked after him and everything, and they could have killed him. They had many chances to kill him, but they decided not to. So did he really betray them? Well, not really, because after that, under the presence of the Sovereign, Cassius now betrays the Sovereign and frees Mustang, Viriginia, as well as Darrow, and together they fight and kill the Sovereign. They fight Aja. Now the final showdown is Aja versus Cassius, Viriginia and Darrow, like 1v3, and she was still winning, she was still dominating the fight. Again, Aja is too OP. I know that she was the former student and probably the best student of Lorne out or course, but still she's too OP here. They continue to fight, and at the last moment, Darrow takes that Haimantus, which saved his life in the first book when he was being hanged, and with the syringe just punches it through Sevro, and Sevro comes back to life. And now it becomes 4v1 and they finally win. It took 4 people to take down 1 person. That's how overpowering she is, which is crazy to think about. This is all very cool and very nice. So instead of a whole army fighting another army, it becomes a much more personal fight. Unlike the second book, which was like the Iron Reign, here it was much more personal. Then let's talk about Adrius's final plan. Apparently he had something with him. He had a final plan with him because Octavia wouldn't have just brought him there where she had the full power. He had something against her. Remember the nuclear warhead I mentioned earlier? That's what he had with him. Apparently he stole it and it's with him, and now it's on the planet, and he says that, look Darrow, here's what I need you to do. Kill yourself and let me become sovereign. And if you do that, I'll stop blowing up millions of people on the planet and save millions of lives. This is Darrow's ethical problem. Do I kill myself and let this psychopath become the sovereign, which won't work in the long run, but at least in the short term I can save more lives? Or do I just kill this guy where I'll get millions of people killed, but at the same time in the long term more peace will come in the way? And he just decided, you know what, screw it. Everyone is being selfish with me, and in order to win this I'm going to have to be selfish as well. So he's like, he just punches Adrius, lots of millions of lives lost, but you have to sacrifice something, right, to win this. And he sacrifices millions of lives in order to win. Viriginia now becomes sovereign, and with the help of the Ash Lord and the Sons of Ares and other people, you know, they brought peace to the planet. Viriginia, I think, is a really good choice for sovereign. And let's talk about the ending. It shows that now that everything is now that war is over, it shows that not everything is perfect, but it's realistic, because there's still some kinks here and there in the society. There's going to be a few problems here and there in the society in the long run, but then again, not everything is perfect, and it actually makes it realistic. Last but not least, let's talk about the final plot twist. The final plot twist is crazy. I did not expect it at all. Apparently now Darrow is a father and the mother is Viriginia, which I did not expect at all, but it's crazy. But some of the things leading up to that had made sense, because why would Viriginia, nearing the beginning of the book, meet with the Sovereign's people like Cassius to discuss ceasefire? It didn't make sense, but now it does. She was actually looking after her child. And now Darrow finally has a chance to have a child, because as you all know, EO, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she was supposed to have a child, but she was killed before that. But now he can finally be a father and build something instead of destroying things. So I think that's a really cool final plot twist, and of course there's an epilogue to explain all this, but really cool stuff. I think this is a really good ending to the series. I gave Red Rising 4 out of 5, and I gave Golden Sun 5 out of 5, and I think this is right somewhere in the middle, so I'll give it like 4.5 out of 5. Morning Star. Great stuff, loved it. Let me know what else you want, and yeah, that's for my review for this book and plot analysis. Let me know what else you want to see, or if you have any feedback, let me know in the comments as well. And that's all. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. See you guys next time. You guys are always the best.